Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis.
And I'm Ethan.
And this is
Monster Comic Reviews.
That's right. Okay, I don't know what week it is.
No
2 weeks
idea.
ago, I think. Let's go ahead and start.
Okay, first up we have Batwoman issue 9. What did you think?
I like Batwoman. I like the character. I like the book. I like the storyline that's going on in this. We have a new artist that replaced Amy Reeder in this. He was the artist for Batman Gates of Gotham and things like that. I like his art. I think his artwork is fine. The action shots work in it. Me and you have had some discussion about about the artwork and whatnot, because there's been some other reviewers that have commented on the artwork where it seems like they're aping J.H. Williams' work as opposed to doing their own style. And I see both sides of the thing. I see one side making the panels at least kind of lay out the way J.H. Williams does. That way it doesn't read like a totally different comic book when Williams isn't doing the arc, right? On the arcs that he's not on. But part of me says it could be just as good a book if they go, okay, this is somebody else's arc, they do their art, their style, and then when J.H. Williams goes back to the other style.
Exactly.
And I don't know. It's kind of. I mean,
yeah.
It's unfortunate if they're being strangled by having to follow his thing, and I mean maybe that's why it didn't work out with Amy Reeder or whatnot. I don't know. I did like this artwork though in it and whatnot, and I didn't mind the page layout. I don't think it took away from it, but it does make you wonder what it would look like if they could just did it their own way.
Yeah.
You know, how much of that is as far as the story going in it and whatnot. Some interesting stuff going on in it. Part of me is kind of bummed that Batwoman has all these extra gadgets and stuff, though. Part of me liked her being the Street Fighter. Now she's, semi-bulletproof and.
Exactly.
Of course, but the thing is though, how would a normal person survive all the stuff she goes through if she wasn't armored up? How does Batman do it? I mean, if you really look.
Batman.
I understand that, but she's not.
Yeah, exactly. She hasn't. Yeah.
So there's two sides to it. I like the fact they're still portraying the government agent as basically being just as bad as the bad guys. Really, it's like screw you. We don't care what happens to you, or we're just gonna blow them all up, or whatever. They use pretty awful tactics to get what they want and whatnot. Interesting that she's got a new girl kind of like in love with her, or at least in lust with her. That's gonna be potentially complicated. I love the fact that her date goes, make sure you don't go home with the with the musician. Yeah, she knows Kate and knows the look, But no, I'm enjoying this. The story's interesting. This almost feels like we're dragging it out a ways, though, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah. Well,
because supposedly this is a new arc. That's when the new artist, when Amy started over, it was a new arc. But we're still dealing with the same dudes, really. I mean, they bring up the ghost of the mother of the dead children again. So they haven't really locked all that down. So I'm curious to see how that all gets tied up.
It's kind of annoying because I have no problem with the way. In fact, I like the way that they're doing it with the flashbacks and stories and stuff.
I like this, yeah.
But it feels to me like the little bits of the fight, even though they're only telling little bits of the fight, it feels like it's gone on for a little bit too long for me.
Yeah, we're in the middle of this. We're in the middle of like an hour time span, but of course we've gone like two or three books worth of in just like an hour time span. They're going back, but they need to tell us the backstory, and I'm okay with that. It's all interesting and whatnot, but I'm reaching a point where I'm starting to forget, like, okay, what happened to the guy at the hook? Is he still around somewhere? Or did they arrest him? Yeah, that might be a problem. But I'm still really enjoying the book. I like I said, I really like the character, I like her look, and her mixed up with the government agency. That's
cool.
Yeah. So what'd you rate this book?
I give it a solid 3.
Yep, same here. It's a really strong 3. Okay. Next up, we're going to talk about Batman and Robin number 9, one of the Night of the Owl books.
Okay, so earlier you were talking about how you were renaming Damien the little train that could.
Yeah.
And then I read it.
Robin that could, yeah.
And I renamed Damien the little train that kicks ass.
Yeah.
Because he's pretty awesome in this. Like, I mean, he commands a whole fleet of.
Well, a unit of guard. Yeah.
Yeah, unit of guard.
And
not to mention the way he takes out the Talon, stringing him up and then chopping his head off so his head's up the top of the tree and his body's down at the bottom.
Right.
That was pretty sweet.
How he finally takes care of it. He once again gets to be vicious or murderous and not get in trouble.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, it's funny where everybody's like, well, who who died and made you command? Well, you passed out, sir. And
Yeah.
why should we be listening to you? Well, I've read all these,
Yeah, I read these
combat
war
manuals
tactic
and whatnot.
books and stuff when you were 6.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a suspension of disbelief the fact that Damien's 10 years old and gets away with the crap that he does and whatnot, but they do make it pretty cool.
Yeah.
This book has yet to disappoint me as far as, Batman and Robin. It's been a great book since the relaunch. The relaunch has been awesome for it. Once again, I'm liking The Night of the Owls. It's interesting. We get another Talon story and why he's after this general. That whether he knows it or not, he's actually owns a huge chunk of land, being the last living heir and whatnot. So it's really interesting. Now, do you need this for the Batman story?
No.
For the Night of the Owls story? Yeah, you don't. Now, we did a review our last
But
week's
maybe
review.
we will. Maybe we will. I mean, he is the freaking captain of our entire fleet, so.
Not
Like,
fleet, fleet's
not
the
fleet,
ocean.
but
Squad.
squad.
Oh.
Well, he commands the Air Force for Gotham.
Yeah. So, what I'm saying is that we did a review last week's review, and we mentioned some of these things, and people thought, oh boy, this adds to the story. It does in a sense in that it's cool to hear these Talon's backstory and whatnot, but it's not a necessity to know what's going on in the main Batman title. You don't have to get all these tie-ins.
No.
It's just, it happens to be all this stuff's happening all over Gotham, so it makes sense that everybody else who operates in Gotham is dealing with these things in some sense or other. And they make good stories out of it. Instead of them just showing up and being something stupid they have to kill, they show up, they've got a backstory as to why they're there and how they operate, what their stake is in the game, besides being a reanimated monster.
And each of the Talons is their own thing. I mean, a lot of them fight with swords, but I mean,
so if you dig the Talons, maybe you want to pick up all the books because there's cool stories for each of them.
Exactly.
If it's the Batman title you're worried about, you don't need to pick up all these other things for that, right?
Nope.
Yeah. I would give this probably a solid 3.
Yeah, I'd give it a good strong 3.
Yeah, it's fun watching Damien operate. Okay, what's next?
Next up we have Demon Knights, issue 9.
The Murder of Merlin. Of course, he's already murdered by the time we get to it, right?
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this book. This might be interesting again. I was kind of waning on the whether I care about this or not kind of thing. I have some real beefs with it. My biggest beef is the Horsewoman. Once again, she literally has one sentence in this book. The last 2 or 3 books, she's had one sentence. She says one line, one throwaway blah line, and then she does not exist, basically. Someone might comment about her, but it's not even a real conversation. It's just a, oh yeah. And then that's it. Complete waste of a character. Get rid of the damn character if you don't plan on actually using her, in my opinion. We're falling back into the core DC characters as a whole, and that's what they're using, and they're not using the new people they've introduced. Well, how are these new people supposed to be worth anything? Add to the DC mythos if we're not going to actually invest any time in it.
Yeah.
So I'm disappointed in that part of it. This issue in particular, it's interesting. They're going to go basically into like a little slice of purgatory to get supposedly Merlin's soul, get it back in his body, and then come back out of the place. You've got the who's treacherous and who's not treacherous in the thing. But what do you think?
I like this issue. I agree with you on the Horsewoman thing. It's kind of annoying because she seems like she's a pretty cool character. I mean,
she could be, but who knows?
Exactly.
It's my issue.
Seems exactly.
Right.
Seems. It makes sense to me that Etrigan's betraying them because he is a demon.
Right.
And all the way that when he first talks to Lucifer, that they make Lucifer all pretty and nice looking, and then on the next page you actually get to see what Lucifer really looks like. He has like spiky teeth and his hands are bloody and claw-like. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of fun the way that they did that, considering the fact that he's fallen and all whatnot, I'm assuming. I mean, it definitely helped get it forward, but I don't have too much to say about this.
Right. For me, I'm going to check out the rest of this arc, see how this goes. If I'm really excited by the end of the arc, we'll continue with it. If not, it probably is a book that I'm gonna let go, just because it doesn't. The first issues of the book, when it first started out, were really fun. I thought it was gregarious, it was funny, it was entertaining, and now it just is kind of there. It's just going through the motions, which is what I don't want. So
Yeah.
I would give it a week 3. There's nothing bad about it other than the problem issue with the
There's
horse
just something
woman.
amazing.
But there's nothing about it to make me
Yeah.
excited either.
I give it a week 3.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the first half. This is one of our short weeks. We'll be back in just a little bit with the second half of this week's with the comics. See ya.